Okay, Stephanie. Okay. All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Center County Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, October 27th. As we start every meeting, we would please welcome and invite you to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very, very much. Okay. At this time, we'll accept any public comment for anything that's on or off the agenda. If you'd like to make public comment, if you're joining us by phone, please press *5, and we will do that. We do not have any public comment in the room, but would there be anybody who's joining us on the phone? Again, if you would want to press *5, we would be happy to have your public comment at this time. Okay. We have somebody who'd like to make a comment. Good morning. If you would be willing to tell us your name and the municipality you're from.
Hi, I just have a question about the COVID grant. How much are you giving to each applicant or each business? I see that's in your agenda later, but maybe you could, I'm just curious how much per applicant, or what is your funding formula for that? Thank you.
Absolutely. No, thank you very much. Thank you. And that was from Kevin, it looks like on the phone here. Yes, we're going to be talking about that under that line item, but we'd be happy to share that with you. We have applicants of the amounts are anywhere from $900 to $30,000, and it depends on a variety of things. We'll get more into that when it's on the agenda, but that's the range at this point. But we'll get into that later on in the agenda, and we'll also have a list of all the businesses that are being awarded that as well to release after the meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, you bet. Thanks for calling in, Kevin. Appreciate it. Would anybody else like to make any public comment? We'll be looking, again, hit *5, and we could join you in the conversation. Okay, all right. Seeing no public comment further on the phone, we'll then move to the minutes from our last meeting last week, October 20th. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the meeting minutes from October 20th.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Any further discussion needed on the minutes? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 The motion is carried. Okay. All right, we're going to begin with Proclamation 26 of 2020. We have Sharima Young with us from Penn State University, Local Government Affairs and Community Relations, and Brian Query, our Director of Veterans Affairs here in Center County. But we really appreciate all the leadership University and Sharima has shown with this initiative, so we'd be more than happy to welcome you up, Sharima, for a little bit about what's going on at Penn State, and then afterwards learn a little bit about Brian, about the great work that's being done during difficult situations for our veterans here in Center County. So please.
Yes, thank you, and good morning to the commissioners and the administrator, Margaret Gray. I want to thank you for having us again this year. This year is a very unique year for everyone, and we didn't want it to end the year without recognizing our veterans. We know we have COVID-19 and we have to do things differently, but our veterans deserve all the appreciation that we can give them. So this year's Military Appreciation will be on November 7th through the 14th. It's Military Appreciation Week. And we have a couple of virtual events going on that people can actually see and participate in. So we will have a live stream Veterans Day ceremony that will be held on campus, so people can tune into that. And we also are working with the Downtown Improvement District again to support local businesses. So that will be a scavenger hunt. You can get the information online, which I'll give you the website. And that information will tell you how you can contribute back to local businesses and veterans at the same time, which is great. And then we also have some fun, unique things. We have our virtual veteran student panel, and we have our virtual mindful resilience yoga class. So something a little unique and different this year, but we're excited about it. And if you want more information, please visit our website at militaryappreciation.psu.edu. So thank you again.
Thank you very much, Sharima. We appreciate
Who's leading the yoga class, though?
Someone very limble.
It's going to be Dr. Barron. I'm in if it is. So.
Yes, probably in his head, like most of us. But no, we would love everybody to participate at home and just be able to celebrate our veterans and get healthy at the same time.
There you go. Thank you.
We've been with the pandemic, things are going more virtual, having the opportunities to still stay connected. So we really applaud and appreciate the fact that you haven't lost sight of the stream. And we see you every year for this focus, and really appreciate you, again, attacking it and making sure that it's a part of our conversation and community. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes.
I've always enjoyed the Penn State Veterans Appreciation events and honoring all of your students in the military. I believe Penn State's one of the preeminent universities in the nation
Yes.
for working with veterans and ROTC groups, et cetera. So again, thank you very much for all the university's doing for our veterans, and make sure you invite me to those events in the future.
Thank you. Thank you all.
All good.
Thank you, Sharina,
Thank you.
very much. Thank
Very
you.
much.
So here locally, county government has the distinction to being a direct entity that helps veterans day in, day out. And we were seeing prior to the pandemic an increase in the amount of veterans who were needing assistance and needing help, and getting them linked up with their benefits, their survivors, spouses. And Brian, as the director, has been for a number of years for our Veterans Affairs Office, and we wanted to make sure that he was able to share some of the work that they've done this year, talking about what they've been doing to help veterans. And Brian, again, it was busy before. It's probably kept on being busy during the pandemic. We appreciate all that you and your staff do to help our veterans, and again, wanted to give you some time here today to discuss that.
Well, I think the main thing is, I like to think that we're still doing everything we did before COVID. We might be doing it a little bit differently. You might have a little harder time getting a hold of us when you call because it may go to voicemail, but we are doing pretty much everything that we've done previous to this, maybe just in different ways. We aren't currently doing in-person appointments, but we do the virtual Zoom appointments, phone calls, faxes, emails, and we found that we're able to do that. We're still having a few volunteer drivers, and we're still able to take veterans from Center County down to the hospital, to the VA hospital in Altoona. Interestingly, I think because they're doing a lot of things via virtually also, there's not quite the demand we had before, but that's a good thing because we don't have the same number of drivers that we had before. So far, with one or two exceptions, we've been able to get everybody down to Altoona for their appointments on that. Again, I just like to say, I think we're still doing pensions, compensations, we're doing the claims, we're helping people get into health care. I'm also working on a lot of programs out there for emergency support through this time frame. Kind of key thing, if you can just kind of give us a call at our office, just be aware it may go to voicemail, but we do get back to you as soon as we can. And our office number is 814-355-6812 for any veterans or any spouses or family members of veterans. If you have any questions, just please give us a call, and we'll try to address your concerns as soon as we can.
Super. Thank you so much, Brian. We appreciate it so much.
And your staff's been going through an amazing number of emails every single week. Appreciate that. I know that's probably your main point of contact at this point, but it just shows us visually just how much work your staff's doing.
Yeah, we do get quite a bit. It seems like most of our things have shifted from telephone calls. We used to get sometimes up to 70 phone calls a day in our office, but now they've more shifted over to emails on that one. And primarily, I'm the main one working in the office, but both Sherry and Roger are working from home, and I'm able to kind of direct things, and it works out fairly well, as best we can expect, I think. So,
Great, thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Thank you so much. So we are looking then to, again, approve Military Appreciation Week, and that would run from the 7th to the 14th here in Center County. And this would be to encourage all of our citizens in Center County to recognize those who have served or are currently serving our nation, our campus, our community, and thank them for their tremendous contributions, and also to say thank you to the people who help them day in, day out to, again, be members of our community. So we look for a motion to that effect.
Sure, an enthusiastic motion to adopt proclamation number 26 of 2020, proclaiming November 7th through the 14th, 2020 as Military Appreciation Week.
I will second that. All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 The motion is carried. Okay, thank you both once again. Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharima. Thanks, Brian.
Okay, we are going to welcome in Mary Kay Williams, our CRBG COVID-19 Block Grant Coordinator. And we do have room, Mark and Carrie, if you would like to join us, you're more than welcome to. Thank you for your patience. Appreciate it, Mark. Thank you. Kim Stank as well from ZA is with us, and I want to make sure I'm bringing in, let's give this one a try. Kim, is that you by chance? Good morning, Kim.
Good morning.
Okay, good, super. There's a few people who called in, and I picked the right one. Okay, good morning. We have Mary Kay with us, so we'll turn it over to you, Mary Kay. And
Awesome.
Then, joining with Kim. Thank you.
Well, today is an exciting day for Center County. I'm very happy to be here to present the grant awards that were calculated. And how they were calculated was either by revenue decline from a period from March 1st through July 31st, or a loss of revenue, and we took the sum whichever was greater. I was happy to be able to work with Kim from Zelenkowski Axelrod, as well as the Small Business Development Center and the internal team. I feel very, very happy to announce that we were able to present a very fair and equitable process, in that as we were going through the decision-making process, at no time did anybody from Center County see the names of the businesses. We did the formula first, and then we presented the business names that was populated afterward. The commissioners, I'm presenting to you a final PDF with the business name and the award amount in your packets. Every business that is eligible to receive, which are 403 businesses in Center County, will receive an email today at 11 o'clock. Also, at 11 o'clock, the information will go on to our Center County website as well as our press release. The eligible businesses will receive an email that will say CARES at Center County, and they can look for that information. What that email will consist of is the congratulations, their award amount, as well as they need to send that information back to us so that the controller's office can process the checks. And I'm going to ask the 403 businesses to be patient. Jason Moser from the controller's office has been working ahead, but it's still going to be there's going to be an influx. I also wanted to inform the commissioners to know that we really, the process worked in that of the 403 businesses, there were 27 out of our 35 Center County municipalities had businesses that received awards. And I will just ask the board to approve the grant legal agreement that will be signed and accepted back electronically, as well as the list of small businesses and the grant ranging in amounts from $941.92 up to $30,000. So I'm asking for approval for that. If there's any discussion items, I'm very happy to fill those.
Sure. Thank you, Mary Kay. And then, Kim, anything from your end that you wanted to present to us before we made some comments?
No, Mary Kay did a great job.
Okay, fantastic. Okay. In terms of the machinations and the operations that got us here, I think it's very important for us to say and for the businesses to realize that we appreciated their patience as we got to this point, but we wanted to make sure that at the end of it, we could go back and to the gentleman's question during public comment was, how did we arrive here? And it was really important to have a really solid foundation, to have integrity in that process, and make sure that through the process we could say, here's how we arrived there. There was fairness, and so it was really, I think, looking back on it, it was really a strong process, really strong, and just really appreciate all the work that has been put into this. But looking at many of the businesses we have on the list here, these are local businesses we all know, utilize here in our community, and there's been a difficult time recently with the pandemic, and we want to make sure that part of this CARES Act money we got from the federal government gets out to them and helps them stay alive, stay afloat, and get by so they can make it through and assist them. And so again, this is a lot of work goes into these individuals that are going to be getting these funds. But again, this is a really important opportunity for them, and we thank them for the application process as well. So yeah, thanks, Mary Kay. Appreciate the presentation, but I know we all have comments and want to add our thoughts to this, but yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mark.
All right, I'm trying to read through the list as fast as I can.
Sure.
But, this was a tremendous amount of work. We thank Mary Kay, Kim, Margaret and her staff, Finance Department, Controllers Department, of course, the SBDC, Will and Elizabeth put in a huge number of hours on this. Great to hear that 27 of the 35 municipalities are receiving awards. I know I personally visited about 550 businesses, and it roughly skimming through the first 200 or so, it looks like I probably personally visited about 40% of them. Because of those 550, it appeared that most of them did qualify. So you're saying we have 403 small businesses that have initially qualified. It's one of the largest, highest numbers in the state for businesses receiving grants. It's also, of course, one of the largest dollar amounts in the state, even though we're only the 22nd largest county. And I believe you mentioned we did use the most generous formula allowed by the state and federal guidelines. I'm noticing here on our first four, we've got 2,000 Degrees, 329 Design, AJ Fine, and a Step Beyond Massage Therapy, which is funny because I've visited all of those businesses. We have two gyms, Jim's Army Navy and in State College, and Jim's Italian here in Bellefonte. And then way at the back, no Z's here, but we do have Yoga and Energy, Yoga Lab, Yogurt Express in downtown State College, who I did visit personally, and Young's Taekwondo in Bellefonte. So I just want to thank everyone for a huge amount of effort on this. The commissioners care very deeply about our Center County small businesses and tourism operations, and we've worked for months now to distribute almost $6 million as fairly and equitably as possible, and I'm going to be finishing this up as soon as the meeting's over. Thanks.
I just want to say, first of all, thank you, Mary Kay. I know you've probably been tested on this in this process because it's not. We knew it was going to be a daunting task. We didn't realize that the target would be moving as fast as it was. And one of the challenges that you've had, and the commissioner's office and anybody else that was involved in this, including the SBDC, was we thought we knew what we were going to do, and then the rules changed, and we had to change with them. And what you've done has been nothing short of amazing when it comes to putting all those machinations in motion. And Margaret, you've been instrumental in this process. I mean, there's so many people that we need to thank, because this is the first blush we've actually even looked at this. This was about as impartial of a process as could possibly be. I didn't know who was. I'd gotten a few emails from people, but I've been very careful to really not want to know who was on this list. To my fellow commissioners' point, a lot of the folks on here are kind of household names in our community, and trying to keep those household names in our community is, I think, a very, very important part of what this grant was to do. But as we move forward, not everybody got what they wanted. Maybe some folks did not qualify in the way that they wish they had, but I do believe this is about as fair and as equitable of a system as we could derive, given the circumstance and the constraints that the federal and state government placed upon us. And as I noted earlier, those guidelines changed almost by the day. So thank you for your hard work, Margaret, for your hard work, making sure my fellow commissioners and everybody else from the SBDC, et cetera, that kind of made this all fit together in, I think, a pretty impartial way. And maybe not everybody got the full loaf that they wanted, but I do believe that this was a very fair system, and I think we're going to reap the benefit of folks that maybe you're going to be able to take care of some bills that otherwise may have been challenging. So we want to thank you again for everything. So.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So before we take any motion or action, we would look for the opportunity for any other public comment that anybody would like to make on this item, or any questions from the press we have. But any public comment on this? Okay. Seeing none there. Marley, Gary, any questions for us before we take action?
What's the total amount being awarded right now?
Sure. It's 5.5 million?
5.4.
5.4 million. Yep.
Businesses that applied did not receive money, will there be an opportunity to Do you know yet if there's going to be another application process or?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, what the commissioners and I discussed, there are roughly about 130 businesses that applied, and their revenue was actually in a growth mode, and it was from the period of March 1st through July 31st. And so we understand that there's life after July 31st. So those businesses that were not eligible will get an email from us in about 2 weeks, and they will have an opportunity to resubmit their information to us in a very shortened, abbreviated application, and that will come back to us. That time period that we'll be looking at now will be March 1st through October 31st. So we're going to wait until the quarter ends at the end of October, and then we'll be reaching out to those businesses, hoping that we could provide at least up to $5,000 of grant money to them. That's why there's a little bit additional in there, but that's how that process will work. So they will be receiving notification from us in a separate email.
I just wanted to add, I think I was neglect in my comments and making note of the significant contribution that Kim made from Zielinowski and Axelrod. She's the one who really kind of kept us on track with the legal guardrails here and making sure that although we had great intentions several times, she kept us within what I would consider, the metes and bounds of the law and the CARES Act. So it's been a challenge, and just want to say thank you to her organization for working with us so closely.
Yeah, the total $14.7 million that we were allocated, we could use up to $200,000 of that for administrative costs, and that's been a great resource to have in terms of reaching out to them, getting opinions, advice, and with the rules, as you said, Commissioner, we had probably 3 or 4 new rule changes or new allocations, and I think it was the federal government realizing that they needed to be a little bit more broader. We didn't want there to be unspent money at the end of the year, and so it's been helpful. So no, absolutely, it's a very, very good point. So yeah.
And the other part of it
Yeah.
is we really didn't want the businesses receiving the money to be pressed into the corner by the federal government in their guidelines later. So we tried, I think we've done a pretty good job of being equitable and being fair with everybody.
Absolutely.
And you raised a good point, Steve. This $5.4 million is going to go all throughout the county. People are going to pay their employees with it. They're going to pay their suppliers with it. They're going to pay rent with it. This is money that lots of other people and groups throughout the county could really use as well. And obviously, small businesses create the majority of the jobs in this country. And I believe between small businesses and medium-sized businesses, they also employ the majority of people throughout the United States. So the very important group, and very happy we were able to assist them in 27 of the 35 municipalities.
Throughout the county, all throughout the county, and really a good mix.
I just got a note from Evan Hinckley.
Oh, okay.
I guess he might have a question.
Does he? Okay. Oh, is that a? Oh, there he is. Yeah, we'll unmute you, Evan. Absolutely, Evan. You are now free to jump in.
Yes, hello. I just had one follow-up question, and that was how many total applications did you get? So obviously 403 businesses, but that's out of how many total applications?
Certainly, Evan. So we received initially 559 applications on September 11th. That was our closing date for the applications. Once they went through it, we realized that people had so much fun doing it the first time that we had some duplicates. So we went through, and there was actually, once we looked through the duplications, there were 537 businesses that ended up being applying that were there. As part of that 559 was also, there were some businesses that applied that were ineligible. Either they had employees that were greater than 100 and were not involved in tourism, things of that nature. So that's where the numbers, and so the remaining from the 403, that's some of the, when we do the follow-up email and follow-up information, those businesses will be receiving some information from us as next steps.
Any other questions on that, Evan? Sorry, Evan.
The
Yeah.
only other one,
Yeah.
Yep, the only other one was going to be when exactly. I know the letters are going out today at 11, or they'll be received, or the email, excuse me, at 11. Timeline approximately for when they'll actually have the money in hand.
Sure, it's a great question. So I want to give a lot of recognition to our controller, Jason Moser, and his team, because when we asked for businesses, we asked them to submit their W-9, and all but 77 businesses successfully did that. But what Jason and his team have been doing, regardless of knowing who all has been eligible, he and his team have been entering in the W-9s. So we believe we're going to be hitting the ground running. I'm hoping that as he's been doing this process, I'm hoping that some of the checks will be going out by next week, but I don't have Jason's confirmation on that with his workload. I do ask you to be a little patient because I think it's going to be like Niagara Falls of people really wanting, the checks all at one time. But Jason has done a great job with his team getting ready for Niagara Falls flowing.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Evan, appreciate it. Okay. All right, hearing no other questions or comments, we then would look for a motion to make this official.
Motion to approve the grant allocations and agreements with Center County small business and tourism entities.
I will second that.
It has been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. The motion is carried. Okay.
Thank you. I really
Thank you
appreciate it.
once
It's
again.
very
Mary
exciting.
Kay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. and
Yeah,
all your
this
help.
was a lot of work.
Under our contracts, we're going to welcome Mark Smith to discuss this contract. Good morning, Mark.
Morning. I won't take much time. I'm asking the board to consider approving a 5-year contract with Corrections Development. They are a company that supplies a database to our office. They're also involved in probation department type software and corrections facilities, like the jail software for them. Ours is a database in which we keep information. The contract is for 5 years. There's no increase from the last contract, and so there's no increase during the 5-year period. It's kind of rare, but we're thankful for it.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Any questions for Mark? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion?
Motion to add the contract with Corrections Development, Inc. to the Thursday, November 5th consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 The motion is carried. Okay, thank you once again.
Thanks, Mark.
Appreciate it. Okay, under our grant section, we'll welcome up Carrie to discuss the subaward notification. Good morning, Carrie.
Morning. I come before the board today for the consideration of signing the award letter from the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency for the Burn Justice Assistance Grant funding in the amount of $90,399. Just to give you a little history on the JAG funding, as we call it, this opened in January, and due to COVID, there was several delays. They give more time for grant submission, and it went in April, but it didn't go before PCCD's commission until September. So this has been a long process. They did receive 89 applications for funding in excess of $9.7 million. And at their September commission meeting, they awarded 38 applications, a little over $3.8 million. We were one of the lucky 38 applicants. So this funding will be used to support enhancement of services for the justice involved at the county correctional facility. There's really 3 main parts to this grant. One is the implementation of decision points, which is a curriculum that the warden wants to implement at the correctional facility. 2 is the creation of a new position at the Center County Correctional Facility, a mental health specialist. That this grant funding will cover salary and benefits for that position. And then 3rd is the implementation of the Ohio Risk Assessment System, which will be both at the county correctional facility and for use by our probation officers. So really 3 great projects, all contained in this one grant. It is for 1 year of funding. The start date is October 1st, and it'll run through September 30th of 2021. However, we are eligible to request a year 2 for up to 75% of our total award. Okay. Is there any other questions?
In year 2, is it the same breakdown as far as funding structure, or can we redirect that money, for instance, to just like the mental health?
I think that is quite possible because the ORAS and the decision points, those funds are being directed towards the training components, and that is to pay the trainers to come on site here in Center County and train the staff. So that is kind of a one and done project. Once that's done, we don't need any further funds to implement those. So that would be my goal, is to divert those funds to the cost of the position and see if they would approve that.
I think, as we're well aware, the mental health component of our jail is certainly something that's very important to all of us. That we want to maintain the highest standard and quality there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Kara, I'd like to thank you and your staff for continuing to push for the mental health specialist. I know we worked with the public defender, district attorney, the corrections facility, probation, broad variety of other departments and stakeholders within the county on that. It's great to see we were able to get a grant to prototype it and see how it works. But I agree with Commissioner Dersham. Very important for us to have the highest quality standards for a county correctional facility for mental health treatment.
One of the things we were thinking about doing with the ORAS is making it available to other counties to do trainings. Is that something that we would still be doing, or would just be for us at this point?
We are eligible, I believe it's up to 30 participants in the
okay.
class. So of course, COVID will impact how we handle this. We might have to wait until next year in hopes that we could have everyone together. But certainly if we have extra spots in the class, we would certainly open it up to our neighbors. But we're looking to train the treatment staff at the correctional facility and then the probation department. So we'll see how many numbers we end up with.
Okay, just out of curiosity, that's great. But no, thank you again, Carrie, for putting this through. This is very important, so thank you. We look then for a motion for the sub-grant award.
Motion to add the sub-grant award notification to the Thursday, November 5th consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. The motion is carried. Thank you again, Carrie.
Thank you.
For today's consent agenda, would we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve today's consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. And we'll have 2 items for liquid fuels. Margaret, for those.
Yes, thank you. PennDOT has approved 2 completion reports, one from Potter Township for the installation of a speed alert radar message sign in the amount of $8,500. And the second completion report is from Worth Township for $43,263 for road improvements and upgrades on East Mountain Road. As you know, when the projects are finished, the municipality sends that information to PennDOT. PennDOT then accepts the completion report and asks for your release of the liquid fuels funds to those municipalities.
We look then for a motion to approve this.
Motion to approve the liquid fuels payments to Potter and Worth Townships.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Thank you, Margaret, for addressing these. All those in favor say aye.
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 The motion has carried. Okay. Any reports today, Margaret?
Yes, I just want to remind everyone that the testing site opens this morning at 11 a.m. at the Nittany Mall in the former Bonton location. The AMI doctors on site filmed the setup of the operation and sent that to us to take a preview last night, and it looks to be a great space, lots of room for physical distancing and testing, and so we hope that our community members will take advantage of this resource.
Super. Excellent. Thank you.
And just as before, it's free, no appointment necessary. And you
Correct.
enter through the exterior doors.
Correct.
On the outside of the mall. You will
Correct.
not be able to go from the inside of the mall
Correct.
into the facility.
And we did also include those points and some additional points so people can reference what you said also on the website, our county website, so.
Thank you again to the Nittany Mall. They've just been, you've worked with them, been tremendous.
They have been
Yeah.
such a strong supporter and
Yeah.
partner in all of this, and this is just a really great location. And as Commissioner Higgins says, the
Yeah.
ability to enter from the outside is really excellent for people.
Super.
Couldn't be
That's
better.
great.
Yeah, and thanks again, Margaret. As I mentioned last week, you and your staff primarily handled this contractual work, and the Pennsylvania Department of Health developed it initially, but they have hundreds of employees. You have a much smaller staff, and yet within just a couple of weeks, you got this nailed down. It's now open, and it's sized just right for Center County.
We will also be providing you with some follow-up information in terms of usage, and
Good.
we'll monitor that over the next 3 weeks. The site is open Tuesday through Saturdays, except next week. It is closed on Election Day. It will be open on Monday and then Wednesday through Saturday. So I would want to also point that out. It will not be open at the same time as the poll. So.
Great, excellent. Okay, thank you, Margaret. Commissioner Higgins, check on.
Sure. Slightly smaller than average check run of $1,279,404.28. We had a series of checks to the Center County Youth Service Bureau totaling $163,354.50 for wrap services, reuniting services, decluttering services, placement, etc. So would like to make the motion to approve the check run dated October 23rd.
I will second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay, and then over to Commissioner Dershowitz.
Okay, we have the last voter registration report before the election. We have 112,054 registered voters in Center County. That's up 574 registrants since the last report. And that involves a roster of 46,872 Democratic voters, 160 Green Party, 1,384 Independent, 732 Libertarian, and 15,642 no affiliation. And the Republican voters are 44,560. Again, we look at the numbers, and it's pretty significant, pretty significantly changed from your average presidential election. I don't think we see quite the jump in voter registration that we've traditionally seen. The feature party of the minor parties would be the N/A party. I would assume it means not applicable, but it could mean something else. So NA, there are 2 NA voters in Center County, and we'd like to recognize those. We'd also like to recognize precinct number 91, which is Ferguson North Central. It votes at the Stepping Stone Church in Science Park Road. In the primary, there were a total registration count of 745. There were 373 ballots cast, which led to a percentage turnout of 50.07%. And we want to thank the Stepping Stone Church for giving us the opportunity to use their facility. But we also want to thank the folks that really make it happen at Precinct 91, which is Tina Hoy, she's the judge of elections, Jessica Ostrander, who's the minority inspector, Danielle Betts, the majority inspector. We have the clerks Karen Jackson, Sarah Betts, and Janet Shuttleworth. I want to thank them for their hard work, and I guess we'll be seeing them again next week. So there you have it. That's the last report before the election.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you. We do want to announce that we will not be holding a commissioners meeting 1 week from today. We will each be in various parts of the county, focused on the administration of the election and assisting where we need to. So again, we will not be meeting on Tuesday at 10 a.m. here next week. We will, however, have a commissioners meeting this Thursday and also on November 5th as well at 10 a.m. Those will both be virtual, and we will have information posted on our website about joining them. And we have any executive sessions, Margaret, to report?
No executive sessions to report. However, we do need for you to meet in an executive session regarding a personnel matter for just a couple minutes.
Okay.
One item before we, and it actually is, I guess, related to elections, I would like the board to consider at the earliest possible convenience the purchase of 10 Honda 2,000 or 2,500 generators, just as an emergency backup in the event come Tuesday we have some sort of electrical or power issues with the election process. Also, the cabling that you can join these together and double their output capacity. So I think we can probably do that either. Well, we can discuss it at our election board meeting earlier or later this morning, but also on Thursday we can make the effort to approve it if that.
Sure, I would have no problem actually right now. If we wanted to add it to the agenda, just
Okay.
take care of it now.
All right.
Lee, our facilities management director, was putting together quotes to see what was out there, but he's already been purchasing a few this year, but giving him the go-ahead to purchase, even if it's a larger units or whatnot, but 10 total units in whatever sizes he needs, I think that would be completely.
What are nice about these is they are fairly portable,
You could just-
and
okay.
you can join them together, so you can take like a 2,500 watt unit and turn it into a 5,000 watt unit just by coupling them together.
That's perfect. Oh, super. Then we'll just keep it simple. Okay. But yeah, if you wanted to make the motion to add it to the agenda.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to add the purchase of 10 Honda, the 2,000 or 2,500 watt generators with the couplings to the agenda this morning.
Okay. so-
I will second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. We'll put it underneath. Let's see, under contract. We'll do it there as item B. It's been moved and seconded. Would there be any further question, comment, discussion on that?
It'll
Yeah,
be paid
please.
for out of the grant funds.
Absolutely.
That have been
Yes.
Made available to us to administer the election.
Absolutely.
I
Yes.
I can't remember which general election it was, but I know a couple of years ago, we actually did have 2 polling places out of power simultaneously, and Lee and his staff were really scrambling to help out with that.
This last spring, we had at least one down for a very protracted amount of time that we almost had to deploy them. So it does happen.
Absolutely.
And given the nature of this particular election and the volume of voters, I think it's important that we maintain the capability of being operational.
Absolutely. No, okay. So moved and seconded to add it to the agenda. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And I will say as well, West Penn has been a great partner we essentially give to them all of the locations where you have polls. And so if it flashes on their screen or their monitor or whatnot that site has been affected, there's a quick call into 911 and Jeff Warren, and they go to work on making sure that gets back up as soon as possible. But this in the interim, these would be great things to be able to deploy. So
Just in case.
super. Okay. So we'll take that under. We'll take a motion to approve that then.
You want to do
Yeah.
it, Steve?
Sure.
go ahead.
Sure.
Okay. Motion to approve a contract for 10 Honda generators in the 2,000 to 2,500 watt size with coupling, hardware?
Yep.
Coupling hardware.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, and this will be purchased out of our grant that we have for the elections, no cost to the taxpayers there. Hearing no further discussion, seeing no further discussion on the generators, all in favor say aye.
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 The motion is carried. Okay, super. Right, and then, let's see here. Okay, we will have an executive session after the meeting, but any questions, Evan, Marley, Gary, any that you all would have?
Is election board after this?
Yeah, 11 a.m.-ish, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Lightning round, CDT, go ahead.
Any questions, Marley? Yeah. See you at 11. Okay, super. Okay, excellent. Okay.
Number of inmates from Huntington, half of them? Did I read that? 17 tested positive? Is that the figures you have then?
Well, we have, as of today, yesterday or today, I don't know if we have the most recent numbers from this morning, so I don't know the exact number, but
I haven't seen numbers.
yeah, I don't,
Yesterday, they had 17 posted.
yeah, so let's say
So you
correct,
put
yes.
those prisoner or inmates in a pod, and then
That's
when
right.
the ones that are pod, do you have to separate them from the others from Huntington, or?
So even before, what we do is we do temperature checks before they even enter the facility. There's some testing that's done outside, but then as a matter of precaution, we tested everybody who came into the facility because we knew that they were emanating from a place where there was a positive case or positive cases, but took the steps to do that up front. And then they were sectioned off within the correctional facility in an empty pod. And so the individuals and the staff members that were coming in, entering it, would have the N95s, the gowns, all that protective equipment that we had purchased several weeks ago, we had on site. But as the folks within the facility developed the cases, the facility then could strategically put them in certain locations, separate them as much as possible. We have two, where we have an area where a negative airflow room can be utilized. So yes, they've been doing that strategically at the facility.
Quick question, we're at the end of October. Where do you stand in the budget process for next year?
Sure. So this afternoon, throughout the afternoons this week, we did it previously last week, we've held informational budget meetings just talking about where we're at with things, but we're still currently working right now through individual offices, looking at their budget, looking at their line items and requests. So we're working through that process.
Are you still flying blind in terms of what the state's going to allocate next year? They've got to vote on another budget, is that right?
That's right. Well, I think it's anywhere. There are multiple scenarios that we're considering about what that would look like, and we're being open and upfront with our staff in terms of, if there's a state cut, we need to be ready to, implement those contracts as of December 1. So we approved the 5-month contract with our human service agencies that runs out in about a month. So we're going to have to receive the notice from the state about what the funding looks like, and then reapprove those contracts to put that funding amount in. So it's going to happen in a very short amount of time. So we're being honest about what those scenarios might look like, and CCAP is also very much lobbying the state, but we know there's going to be tough decisions that they have to make, and so we're preparing for some different options.
That's all I have.
Okay.
See you at 11.
Okay. All right. Evan, anything for us at 10 a.m.? Well, we can we'll pull you off. Anything at this point, Evan, or?
Yeah, just one thing to follow up, and that would be how long do the prisoners, the Huntington County prisoners at Center County Prison, how long now, because about half of them tested positive, how long will they, at least the ones positive, or all of them have to stay in Center County? Do we know?
Yeah, so when we received, when they arrived, it was with the understanding of a 3-week, 21-day duration. However, we're in constant, our warden and his team are reaching out to the Huntington County folks constantly and talking with them with updates. They're checking in. If it needs to be a little bit longer, we'll work with them on that if they can receive them sooner. But again, that 14-day quarantine for an individual that is tested positive or somebody who's come in contact with them, so we're going to be very sensitive to that and make sure that those time frames are being kept in mind.
And I do want to clarify, with the Huntington County returning citizens, we've assisted Huntington County for years, Steve, possibly even decades, with their overflow. So we actually have two groups of Huntington County prisoners. We have the ones who have been here for months, who are in our general population, and then to Gary's point, we have a smaller group that came in 2 weekends ago. Roughly half of that group may have COVID infections, but the Huntington County returning citizens who've been here for months and months, they're in the general population. They don't have COVID, they're fine.
Right. Just an update on, any update on the mobile drop boxes at this point? Everything functioning fine? Are we any data to report in terms of mail-in or dropped-in ballots?
Sure. So total overall, we've had 36,000 mail-in ballots requested and absentee ballots, civilian absentee ballots requested. We have had, as of yesterday, about 20,000 returned, and so we're continuing to get returns every day from the drop boxes, the mail, or in-person delivery at the Willowbank building. So it's going along very smoothly in terms of all that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. All right. At this time, we'll look for a motion to go into executive session. Okay.
Motion to go into executive session at 10:49.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion is carried. Okay.